Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to the debut of the PCFF podcast. I am Clip Rock here from the PCFF studios, and we got a very special guest for you today. We're going to have guests on every week as we will take this up to the kickoff of the 2011 season and beyond. All throughout the season, we're going to have fun here on the PCFF podcast. And I figured our first guest, why not start with the champ? Go ahead and start at the top. Go ahead and start with Mr. Brian Perry,
the champ,
owner of the Miami Militia, joining us inside the PCFF studios. Mr. Perry, how you doing?
Doing well. Mr. Brock, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Figured we'd go ahead and break this out. It was kind of an idea I had earlier this week, so I got up with you. I wanted you to be my first guest, and obviously you said yes, and here we are.
Honored to be your first guest.
Having a lot of fun. Mr. Perry, let's go ahead and talk about this past week. I mean, football is back, and I got to be honest, I think they should do this every year. I like having about a week of free agency. I mean, it's been nuts the last few days.
Yeah, it's like a blitz. You know, everything happens at once. All the moves, all the teams getting shaken up. It's a lot of excitement. It kind of sucks to wait till this late in the off season, but a lot of excitement.
And glad it finally got done. And just kind of looking at all the transaction that's gone on. Obviously, my Redskins have done a lot of little things and a few big things. Shipping out Albert Haynesworth and Donovan McNabb, obviously those two. But Mr. Perry, you're wearing the Miami Dolphins shirt today, so we'll talk about Miami a little bit. Reggie Bush, who you know from Miami Militia, obviously going to the Miami Dolphins. Your early thoughts on that?
You know, Reggie Bush, he's been a member of the Militia so many times. I've given him chance after chance after chance, and he's always sucked ass. And I swore to myself last year, I'm done with Reggie Bush. But now that he's taken his talents down to South Beach.
Yes, he has.
I'm a little intrigued. Maybe second, third round, maybe if he's around there. I don't know. I like the excitement that he brings, but again, he worries me.
It's funny you bring up that you have a guy and you swear you'll never take him again, because I've had that on a couple of occasions, and two of those guys, Tiki Barber and Tony Gonzalez, come to mind. I know I've had those guys in their two worst seasons of their careers, and every time I don't have them, they absolutely explode. So I know how that feels. Would you say Reggie Bush, I think I know your answer to this, has been a bust since coming in the NFL?
Absolutely. I mean, he has been a bust. If he ever put together a full season, he's very dangerous. Obviously not much of a rusher. He probably averages less than 3 yards a carry for his career, but out of the backfield and returning punts, stuff like that, he's really dangerous. So if he ever stays healthy for a full season, there's no telling what he could do.
Brian, do you like Reggie Bush over D'Angelo Williams, who everybody had going to Miami, or Ahmad Bradshaw, who some people had going to Miami as well?
No, I definitely don't. I would like either of those other two running backs over Reggie Bush, but with the rookie that we brought in, Thomas, hopefully he and Bush will kind of complement one another like a lot of the other running back by committees have done. If Bradshaw or Williams came in, I think they would have been more the workhorse, which I would have been happy with, especially D'Angelo Williams. But we'll see what Bush does. If it doesn't work out, it's only a 2-year contract. It's not a whole lot of money at about $5 million per year, so it's not that big of a deal.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Moving on to the quarterback position, I think you've been quoted in the past as saying Chad Henne is dumb as shit. Is that correct?
Amongst other quotes, yes, I'm sure I threw that one out.
Okay.
Dumb as shit. Yeah, I saw some interviews with him. He's not the most intelligent quarterback. So yeah, I'm sure what you're getting at. I was really looking forward to bringing in a quality quarterback, since we haven't had one since the mid '90s, and even then he was on his downside. I'm not gonna admit that again, but yeah, Matt Moore.
So were you looking forward to maybe a Kyle Orton to Brandon Marshall connection?
Absolutely. I'm not the biggest Kyle Orton fan. I'm pretty sure I talked shit about him in the past, especially to ML Hager.
Sure.
But really that was just talking shit about the Broncos because I really don't care for him.
He put up huge numbers last year.
He did. He put up very solid numbers. I think he had 20 touchdowns, with a pretty weak Denver team. But, then again, he was throwing to my boy, Brandon Lloyd.
B. Lloyd.
B. Lloyd. But yeah, I was hoping that Orton would come, and I really thought he was. I thought all these talks, with other quarterbacks were just trying to get Denver to drop their asking price, but it seems like Miami was willing to go other directions.
Yeah, and Matt Moore heading down, taking whatever talents he has down to South Beach, I guess. We'll get to your boy Brandon Lloyd and your Miami Militia coming up in just a little bit. You're listening to the debut edition of the PCFF podcast. Brian, does the free agency frenzy we've talked about make it tougher to prepare for your PCFF draft? First, I should ask, have you prepared at all for the draft? Which, by the way, right now we're recording this, and hopefully you're listening to this on July 29th. We're still a couple weeks out.
Yeah, it makes it difficult, but I usually do prepare. Obviously, I'm a school teacher, so I've had some time off, and I usually spend a little bit of time here and there doing a little research, but really hard to do that research now with players shifting from team to team. But I'm ready to get to the war room and do some studying up on these players, and so I can have another successful draft.
Another possible deterrent from winning another championship could be a young son at home, Brian. Will that affect your reign?
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
He's not old enough to give me advice yet, so he can't pick his favorite players for me to take yet. So
that's going to be pretty cool, though, when that does happen.
Yeah,
maybe 5 or 6 years.
At least I'll have someone to blame. My bad draft picks on at least.
Continue.
No, go ahead.
That's it. One more thing before we get to the Q&A about the Militia and the owner, Brian Perry. How about Butch Davis fired this week, or asked to step down, however you want to say it? First of all, what the hell are they thinking this close to the season? And Holden Thorpe comes out and says that they're going to pay him money because they're not letting him go because of any violations. The whole thing is really fucked up.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. I mean, there's shit going on, but there's probably shit going on in a lot of universities throughout the country. But this close to the season, either something really bad was going to come of investigations. So they're trying to clear their name.
Which he's saying there's not.
Yeah.
Which he said, but there could be.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of fishy to let him go this late in the off season with camps or the practice starting. I think in like a week.
End of next week.
Yeah, but to let a coach like that go with no time, I think they promoted their defensive coordinator.
Yeah,
at least they keep it in house, but I don't really like the move, and it's just time will tell what's really going on there.
And I don't have the roster in front of me. I know they have a new quarterback, Renner, filling in for T.J. Yates. All those guys that got drafted and went to the NFL. Do you think they win 6 games this year with all the turmoil and everything?
6 games. That's I'll take the push there. I don't think they'll win more than 6. And I'm sure they've probably got enough talent there to, win some of the weaker ACC teams that they should beat, and
some non-conference games.
Some non-conference. Obviously, they probably got a Division II somewhere in there that they'll beat up on. So I think they'll probably win 6. I'll go with that push.
Okay. So there's a look at the current events, the current topics going on in the world of sports, and now we'll get to the man, the owner, Brian Perry of your Miami Militia. He is the champion going into the 2011 season. How does it feel, BP, to go into the draft as the fucking champion of the PCFF?
It feels fucking awesome. It was a long time coming. My initial year in the league, I think, was 2002, and we went 12-2. Went to the Super Bowl of fantasy and ended up losing that game to the Carolina Crush. I think we were heavy favorites going into that, but our workhorse Priest Holmes broke down late in the season, and that really fucked us over. Haven't forgiven him for that, but since then we've been building, and last year just to put together the type of season that we had was awesome, and to cap it off with a victory over our hated fucking rivals, the 39ers.
Oh man,
it was so sweet.
That's big time, and obviously you're proud of your championship. I feel like if the DC organization could ever get our shit together and win a title, I'd I'd be like you. I'd let people know I'm the champion on the message board. I'd sign my name, defending champion, Miami Militia. I like the way you go around and making sure everybody knows that you are the champion.
Hey, your time's coming, Clip. Your time's coming. But, yeah, unless I repeat, I've got a year to do it, so I'm going to let everybody fucking know.
That's a good way of looking at it. Now, looking at the returners, you got maybe the best running back in the league, maybe the best receiver in the league in Foster and Fitzgerald. You mentioned your boy B. Lloyd. I got to think that you feel pretty good about making another run this year.
Absolutely. You mentioned Arian Foster being perhaps the best running back in the league. My boy Run DMC is looking tough right now too. I think he's a top 5 fantasy back.
He had a huge bounce back year last year.
Yeah. I mean, it was about time that he showed up. I think I had him a season earlier and he didn't do shit. But last year, taking him to the 5th round was a great keeper pick, and he exploded last year. And I really expect a lot more out of him this year.
That's a great pick. That could have been the pick of the draft right there, going back and looking at it.
Arian Foster, 8th round.
Well, Arian, nobody knew who the hell that guy was.
Yeah.
That was a and I look at my team, the best player I have on my roster is Jamal Charles, who I got in free agency. So, I mean, you can study all you want, and I can pick Jonathan Stewart 4th overall, and he can't do shit for a year. But, if you can't get those great picks in the first few rounds, don't give up, because you get a chance to get a steal late or find a free agent guy. It happens every year.
Absolutely. You look at Seattle Select, they picked up 2 players last year that were fantasy studs.
One's on the cover of Madden, right?
Yeah, Mike Vick and Peyton Hillis. I mean, geez, what pickups they were, and his team still sucked ass, but maybe they'll bounce back.
We'll see what happens
Might
this
eat
year.
my words there.
We'll see what happens. All right, we're going to take a quick break, BP. We got more coming up with you in just a little bit. You probably won't give me a lot of your philosophy for the draft, but I'll ask you anyway. We'll talk more about the PCFF draft and some changes you'd make to the league, if any. We'll do that when we come back on the debut edition of the PCFF podcast. Coming up next.
PCFF.